What's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at a game called The Quiet Man, and what you're seeing here is the initial opening cinematic for the game, and you can see they do use real actors and people and try to merge it with gameplay. So you have obviously you have visuals that are built up from the real-time graphics, and then you have these cutscenes that shift over to actual actors trying to work out what's happening in the game. Now, this game, as you've seen in the title, I asked, is the worst game of the year. And yeah, it probably is the worst game of the year, but there's a lot of stuff to explain about this game. Now, this is the opening cinematic, and I have subtitles on and everything. And what you're going to see is, you're going to see you're going to hear actual voices and everything here, which is interesting because as you get further into the game, pretty much directly after this cutscene, you stop hearing anything. There is no real audio. It's all muffled. It's almost like you're underwater trying to listen to the game. And this is the cinematic that played during E3. And if you remember, this was an E3 presentation, actually. This was one of the two new games they announced. Square did at their presentation. At the time, it looked kind of promising because we thought this was going to be a bigger game. We thought it was maybe more fleshed out. We thought there'd be more stuff to it. And then we find out it's a $15 game that's discounted initially from day one. And then we find out it's less than 3 hours long, because it is. I completed this game in one sitting. I just played right through it. And then we found out that they're going to release a patch after you finish the game to add sound in. Yeah, that was in the news actually 2 weeks ago. Yes, so that's where this game starts to really have issue. It's not good enough from a gameplay perspective to want to play through it again, at all. There's no real reason to play through it with how the fighting system is, which is bad. It's never explained to you either. I'll show you what I'm talking about here because we're going to break into a fighting scene pretty soon. And after this initial cutscene, you'll see all the voices and everything go away. But it's an odd situation. What they're trying to do here, I think, is they tried to get too artistic with this game. They had an idea, and I just don't think they executed it correctly, right? I think there was a lot of thought about how they could tell a story without audio at all, and then they just did not put it together well at all. Because there are ways to tell stories without any dialogue, without any sound or anything. You can do that. I think music helps a lot. There are a lot of trailers that don't really have any talking or anything in it, but they still get an emotional reaction from you. This game, though, tries very hard to pull that from you, but they just don't know what they're doing, it feels like. So you have no idea what's going on in this game the entire time, and when you get towards the end, there are twists after twists after twists in the game, and I have no idea what happened, and I finished the game. I couldn't spoil this game for you if I tried. There's so much weird stuff happening in this game, and it needs audio, it needs dialogue to even explain it to you. So here we go. We should be jumping into the fighting soon. And it does a shift, of course, to real-time, to real-time visuals and everything. And you press square to attack. By the way, you've noticed they've thrown me into battle, a fight, and they have not explained any of the combat, right? So if you didn't play around with the buttons more, you would never know that, for example, triangle is kick. So I can kick him. Circle lets you grab them, like this. And I guess while we're here and I'm kind of explaining it, they do their best to explain it in the options, but you have to go through and look, and it's done through pictures. There's not even text to explain how the combat works. And what you just saw there, by the way, of me punching and kicking and grabbing for the past, 20 seconds, is the entirety of the game. That is the gameplay. You have these weird set pieces where you kind of walk around for a minute. I'll even run, and then it jumps to another cutscene, and then you get into more fights. That is the game. This is the entirety of the game. And that's what I mean by the gameplay itself is not good enough to keep you coming back to play it again. They want you to play through it back again, and I guess all of a sudden have a eureka moment about why this was happening, why that was happening, but it's just not engaging enough, right? The fighting is clunky. You have a dodge as well, you can press X, but when you start getting groups of enemies around you, there's no lock-on system, so you can see I'm having a hard time turning around here. What they should have done with this game is just do what Spider-Man did. Take the Batman Arkham series fighting mechanics and just work them into your game. Like, I would, sure people are gonna say, oh, they copied. Yeah, because it's good. It works, right? So, here I am just beating this guy senseless. I grabbed him and you just keep pressing square. And eventually he'll push you off of him, but he's taking so much damage now that I can just punch him once and he's done. They have a focus meter as well. There's no HUD, by the way, so I have no idea what my health is. I have no idea what my focus meter is. I think those flashes of light when you're beating people is supposed to indicate if you have focus or if you have low health, but it's never explained, like at all, not even a little bit. So I have no idea what's even going on. Now, they have these weird flashback moments as well where you're seeing him with his mother and there's like some kind of gang violence that happened. These are all things that I'm just trying to draw from what they show me, just conclusions. And you may have heard, like I said, you probably heard about that patch before you even saw this because it was online. There were news sites covering it and everything. What's weird is when you finish the game, they have a countdown timer that's real time to when it's going to release. And you may not believe me. You may be saying, let me pause this. First of all, this is how they explain the controls to you. L, okay, so you press a button, it tells you. That apparently means focus. R is run, so that makes a little more sense. R1 is advance to whoever you're targeting. Triangle is kick. But do you see what I mean? Like, this is how they try to explain it to you. These are the controls. This is them explaining the controls to you. So let me show you a cutscene, because when I say there's no audio, the only way I can show you that there's no audio is to actually show you a cutscene that you sit through. Some of these cutscenes, by the way, guys, the one you're about to watch, they're minutes long. Here it is. Oh yes, that is a common occurrence. There are very long cutscenes that take place with no audio and no visual cues as to what is happening. As far as I can gather, I know as much as I did from the previews where there is some kind of person with a mask that is kidnapping people. That's all stuff we saw. And that's all I know, because there's no audio to explain it. So here I am, again, another fight. I'm just pretty much mashing X, dodging at times, and I guess you could kind of work out how to do this as you play, but like there are people who block, and I guess the only way to hit them or to stop them from blocking is to dodge them at the right time. Again, never explain the different enemy types or what you should do against them, or just some basic strategies that you're given. The graphics in the game are not very good either. So they have what seems to be 3 different settings for visuals. They have your full-on, full-motion cinematics with actors. You have this weird mid-step where they try to play out things that are happening in real time, so the visuals go up a notch from the base level, which is where I am kind of now, where it doesn't look very good. Like, it looks like a very early PS4 game. Is really what it looks like to me when I see it. There are times where it looks like a late PS3 game, to be honest, when you're playing. So, again, another room, more people to beat up, so I just press square. It works fairly well, as long as they're not blocking. When they block, I've noticed that I just kind of have to punch them more, occasionally dodge, and I work through it. Yeah, so basically you just work through it, hoping to get to the next cutscene that can confuse you with silence. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to smack this guy, take his briefcase, and basically from what I've understood with this, we've broken into a gang's warehouse or hideout here, and we steal this briefcase, right? Now we leave. We're going to go to another cutscene here, and we're going to a friend of ours. Okay, like I said, there are twists and stuff later on that just confuse me even further. But we're going to go to a friend of ours with this briefcase. Now we've cut to the full motion video with actors and everything, and this is going to be another several minute long video of no audio. And they're hoping that we're going to play back through it to see what this is all about. Because this scene makes no sense without audio. This is the scene. I'm going to walk in, I'm going to give him that briefcase. He's going to open up the briefcase. The briefcase is full of drugs. He's filling another briefcase with money. And that's about it. Also, the main character's named Dane, and he's just a jerk to this guy all the time. You're supposed to, I guess, feel bad for him or something because he's supposed to be deaf. Which, by the way, there are definite scenes of him talking to people. So I don't know if he's actually deaf or if Square made us deaf, like the audience. Because there are definite scenes of it. I showed you one earlier. He's talking to that lady, and he seems to understand what she is saying. So I don't know if he can read lips and then he can also talk back to them or what, but you can see he's a jerk to this guy. That's just straight up. And he does that to him a lot. So he's a jerk to this guy completely. So you don't really feel bad for Dane. I don't really know what to make of this game, and that's the biggest problem. It's a $15 game that was discounted 10% right away. The fighting mechanics are very, very poor. Like, the actual gameplay is bad. I can't tell you if the quote-unquote movie part of this game is good because I have no idea. So take one of your favorite movies that has a twist ending and everything and put it on mute and pretend like you've never seen the movie before. Take like The Sixth Sense. Put that on mute. Get somebody who's never seen it before. I don't know if you find one. Put it on mute. Watch all the way through it. Get to the end and then ask them what happened. That's what happens in this game because at the end there are like 3 or 4 twists and I have no idea what happens. So there is, it's just so weird. It only takes like 3 hours, like I said, at the most to beat it. There are some infuriating parts, by the way, towards the end where they have a bunch of people around you. The controls are so bad because there's no lock-on mechanic. There's no easy way to turn around. And people just wail on you. You almost get lucky getting past that part. So this is, I believe, your friend. You're walking in with that briefcase. He's going to open it up. There are drugs in the briefcase, and he's filling another one with money. That's what I've gathered. So I don't know if it's worth me playing back through again with audio. I might just check out some of these early cutscenes, like this one. Maybe I'll come back and just... This cutscene takes... You guys saw the beginning of the game. It has not taken long to get to this cutscene. So maybe I'll do it just to see what is happening here. Because I'm going to cut it short here from the cinematic. This goes on for another 4 or 5 minutes of them just... So at that point, I say, okay, he must be deaf because he used sign language towards him, right? But then there are times where he's just talking to people, so that's why I'm confused. Maybe he's pretending he's deaf, I don't know. But because then he'll just sit there and talk to him. Maybe you can read lips. At that point, you should probably have some kind of subtitles underneath of them as they're doing it. I don't know. It even says in the beginning when you turn subtitles on, there are just going to be times where we don't give you any subtitles at all. So it's an impossible game to follow the story right now. Maybe, here's what I think, I'm going to leave it on this. Here's what I think the team wanted to do with this game. I think they wanted to put it out there. I think they wanted to originally maybe make a movie because the game isn't good. The gameplay's bad. And they wanted to do this thing where they were thinking outside the box. And I have to give them a little bit of credit about thinking outside the box. They wanted the entire game to be viewed initially because you can't unlock that patch till you beat the game. They wanted you to see it completely with no audio, draw your own conclusions, and then view it again with audio to see it explained to you. And that's a bad way to get people to play through your game again. Make the game good, make it interesting, and people will play through it a few times, especially if you have different endings, different ways to play through it, different paths. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening. So you can check it out if you want. I recommend not. Here's what I recommend doing. I'm sure at some point you're going to see write-ups, you're going to see videos of just these cinematics put up because, to be honest, the gameplay parts really add nothing to the experience. It actually detracts from this experience. So this was like an hour and a half movie. It would be more interesting than the game itself. So that's the kind of the way I see it. But let me know what you guys think about The Quiet Man down below. I recommend steering clear of it. Maybe if it goes on sale for like $1.99 on a flash sale, it might be worth checking out just to see what you think of the idea. Maybe it'll be a PlayStation Plus game at some point, and then I'm like, yeah, just go ahead and download it. Not worth the money. I don't recommend it. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about this down below. Let me know what you think about the idea of making the entire game literally quiet all the way through and then unlocking the audio after you beat it. What do you think of that? At least not charging for that. At least that's not a DLC pack that you can charge for. By the way, the Cinemac's still going on with no audio. So yes, this is kind of where I am. I don't know if you can't skip them. So there you go. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure you guys give the video a like if you liked it, dislike if not, and I'll see you guys in the next video.